I have found a milky toner that I actually enjoy using. I just washed my face with the Eucerin Radiant Tone. It's kind of like the Rhode one, but it doesn't have the film property that the Rhode one has. The Rhode one's really good. This has a peptide in it though called Aquatide. It's supposed to stimulate autophagy. Then on top of that, I'm gonna come in with the Super Fade Discoloration Serum I reviewed for you guys a couple of weeks ago. Kojic acid, a dark spot corrector that chelates copper, niacinamide. This is great for just improving the look of discoloration overall. Feels great. So I'm just gonna let that absorb and then I'm gonna come on over with my sunscreen. This is the one point in your skincare routine where you actually want to just make sure that your skin is no longer wet before you put sunscreen on so that it can set up. It won't set up if there's dampness to the skin. Now for my sunscreen, I'm coming in with the Naked Sundays Clear Gel. I'm almost finished with this. No cast chemical sunscreen. If you have facial hair and you don't like the residue of sunscreen in your facial hair, this would be a great option. The pinch test, that's what you're gonna do. The pinch test to tell if it's dark circles due to hollowing or actual hyperpigmentation. If you pinch the skin and the skin between your fingers, you can still see the dark discoloration. That's hyperpigmentation, melanin pigment. But if it's hollowing, you're not gonna see dark discoloration pinching the skin. Speaking of dark circles, I just filmed a video comparing and contrasting the new CeraVe Skin Renewing Vitamin C Eye Cream with the Skin Renewing Eye Cream. Check out that review. These both have caffeine, which can help depuff. I saw one of your comments in a recent video asking me where my bedspread is from. The Club. This little chick, I'm still using it. I love the way this smells. It's such a clean scent. It's not strong or overpowering. Like, I don't even really think you can smell it when you walk in a room if you're wearing it. This is an oldie but a goodie that I wear all the time. Still haven't gotten my vanilla perfume to go with Choco Musk, but if those of you out there like me, you like the Billie Eilish perfume, this is very similar. I'm so proud. I was telling you guys yesterday, I am kind of back in crochet, and look, I made a little bunny. Its name is Lola. It's one of those Woobles kits. If you've never crocheted before, this is a perfect beginner project. It comes with a QR code that takes you to a series of videos that really walks you through step by step. It's so gratifying. And it comes with everything you need. This is not sponsored. Including a really nice crochet hook. I've done their cinema roll kit, but I also got these little mini accessories, like this little carrot hat kit I got to make for the bunny. Isn't it cute? And then this little wee woobly fox. Really, really fun projects, fast. Like I did that and nothing flat. The instructions are really good, like very beginner friendly. I put myself at the intermediate level. Like whenever I pick it up again, I kind of have to, I know like the chain and the double crochet and the single crochet, but some of the stitches I have to look up how to do again because I forget what they mean. But if you're like me, kind of intermediate, or you're super advanced, the videos will go kind of slow. But I think there's a way to see it written out without the videos. But I haven't looked into it that much. But long story short, these kits are really good. As someone who impulsively buys craft kits all the time, I can vouch for these because I've purchased over the years, and those of you who have been here for a while, you know my crochet kit buying habits. Especially, I'm looking at you, Barnes & Noble, because they often have these really compelling looking kits, and they either fall short on the amount of yarn that you need, the instructions are confusing and vague, or they don't come with enough stuffing. The other thing that's really nice about these is the yarn that it comes with. It's like this t-shirt material, so it's really good if you are a beginner because it doesn't split as easily as regular yarn. Like that's kind of one way in which you can mess up crochet or knitting, is if you split the yarn and go in. You think you're going under a loop, but you're just splitting the yarn. This doesn't split, so it's a lot easier if you're a beginner. But yesterday when I was at Michael's, I saw that they actually there's a brand that actually makes this kind of t-shirt yarn. I don't know if it's the same brand that they use in these kits, but it's really nice to work with and very forgiving. Here at Govinda's for Easter. I always get their vegetable soup. It's really good. And then I've got zucchini, beets, some kind of chutney. These cutlets are really good. They had those last year. And this is deviled potato, tofu scramble, pasta salad, broccoli. All right, I'm back. So I saw some of your comments in my review of Avène's Scalp Restorative Protective Cream review, comparing it to Cicaplast Balm, that you guys were asking, oh, please do more Avène reviews. So I ordered some of their sunscreens and one of them came in. It's this SPF 30 mineral sunscreen. I haven't tried yet. I just want to see what it looks like, because you know, mineral sunscreens, they can be pretty casty. I'm just gonna put like that much, which, as I put it in my mouth. Kind of smells like the section in the hardware store where you pick out paint colors. Doesn't smell like paint, but it kind of smells like that section. It's got really good spread. So it feels nice and moisturizing. Of course, no fragrance. I say of course, but Avène puts fragrance in a lot of their skincare. Not all. All right, you can see the difference. All right, on the other half, since I'm just playing around here, I'm gonna show you guys this I have been loving. And it's a sunscreen stick, the Abib Airy Sun Stick. I shared this with you guys in my Fast 5, but I took this with me to Orlando and again on my trip to Clearwater, and it's been great. I took it with me on the beach because it was like the end of the day, but the sun was still out, and I had my hat and my sleeves and everything, but this is really good for reapplication purposes because the shape is easy to get in like all the little tight spaces of your face. You know, like some sunscreen sticks are like this really awkward fat rectangle, but this has a nice like slender and curved surface, plus it spreads really easily. Like there's no sticking. It's like gliding on really smoothly. It's a chemical sunscreen. I'm gonna try not get over here so you can see the contrast. This side definitely has a cast to it, as expected. It's not too bad for a zinc oxide sunscreen, but then you compare it over here. Some people like to wear mineral sunscreens because, at least from the selection that we have here in the US, our mineral sunscreen formulas are less likely to sting. If you're sensitive to chemical sunscreens, you find that they burn, sting. Mineral sunscreens typically do not do that. However, they leave a white cast. But the biggest misconception about mineral sunscreens is that they're better than chemical sunscreens, and that is not true at all. Chemical sunscreens arguably could offer superior UVA protection in comparison to them. It's easier to get good UVA, which is the broader wavelengths of ultraviolet light that penetrate deeply and also are a big driver for hyperpigmentation. It's easier to make a sunscreen to really cover that part well with chemical filters than with zinc oxide. Speaking of Avène, Their best sunscreen that I've tried is not sold in the US market because it has Trisorb in it. Trisorb is a filter that was developed that covers UVA really well. It also covers pro-pigmenting wavelengths of visible light, blue light. So it actually offers blue light protection. Anyway, let me know what you guys think of this side. I already know what you think. You think it's too shiny and that it's too white casty. But other people are gonna be like, oh, that's my holy grail. I wear that all the time. I can't tolerate chemical sunscreens. You see, this is why I try out and review so many, because you gotta have options. You've gotta have options. Sunscreen, no good if it's not on your face. Retinoid and other topical retinoids, not only are they good for improving collagen production, getting rid of surface change related to sun damage like dark spots, but they're also anti-inflammatory. And because they kind of help normalize epidermal turnover, they really smooth out the skin surface. They're also really useful if you get those little flat warts. They're really a superhero. Making adapalene over the counter was a game changer. Now we have so many adapalene options as far as different brands, like La Roche-Posay has had one, but if you go on like Amazon, there are a ton of generic versions of adapalene 0.1% gel that are pretty affordable. As of the publication of this video today, I'm not sure if my affordable skincare video is up where I give a bunch of my favorites, but you best believe adapalene is in that one. It's really underrated. So last weekend I touched on the fact that I have continued to use this Peach Slices Super Fade, and I've rather been enjoying this. It's very soothing. It's got 4.5% niacinamide, a reasonable percentage for tackling dark spots, redness, the moisture barrier, complements the action of your topical retinoid. This also has compounds from centella, which are soothing, anti-inflammatory, licorice root extract, really good for redness, and it has cetyl tranexamic mesylate, which is a modified form of tranexamic acid, may be helpful for redness as well, and the moisture barrier. Underrated aspect of putting tranexamic acid on the skin is that it has been shown to be helpful for the moisture barrier. So it may ultimately be an ingredient that's helpful for reducing irritation in the skin. If somebody looked in at me, they'd think, what the heck is going on in there some nights? Because I'm on my walking pad. I've got my Omnilux contour on, and I've got my iris tour. I look like some kind of alien. Those of you with long hair, don't you hate it? Like, you put it up to get it out of your face, and then sometimes there's like a stray strand that didn't quite make it into the clip. It's like stuck to your back, and you're like, oh my God, I have to redo my hair right away, because that is just so annoying to have that one hair clump that didn't get in the clip, and it's like wanting to hang out with everyone. Yeah, my hair, it's got a mind of its own. Now, when it comes to hair growth, don't neglect scalp care. Shampoo your scalp as frequently as your hair type tolerates. For some people, that's once a week. For people like me, every single day. If I don't shampoo my scalp, my hair looks a mess because I have fine textured hair. My hair is like little fine, real tiny little threads, and they're like tinsel all over the place. So if I don't shampoo the oil off of my scalp, it's gonna look so greasy and cruddy-duddy. So that's important. But for hair growth, it's important because that oily residue on the scalp is inflammatory, favors overgrowth of malassezia, and that really can contribute to hair loss. So shampooing the scalp is key. People are always claiming that if you want healthy, shiny hair, you should not shampoo, and that couldn't be further from the truth. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna wrap this vlog up here. I hope you're having a good weekend. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and as always, don't forget, sunscreen and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.